3, 2, 1. Welcome to. I can't even do it
because of the pirate.
Do it. Yeah, just the whole thing is absurd. Welcome to the Oh Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
Wait, what was that? Brother from what? Can you come
brother
again with
from
that?
The same mother?
So we're not really brothers. That's just a gimmick. Like the SARS guards. They're not really brothers.
The SARS guards.
The SARS guards.
The SARS guards, matey.
So we're not really brothers. We're like good friends, and hey, brother.
Brother from the same mother. So yeah, that reference is true.
So same mother, so we have different fathers.
Correct.
Okay. People are going to be like, what?
Yeah.
Are they brothers now or what?
That's
a gimmick?
That's a good way
I mean, we don't look anything alike, so to pull that gimmick
this is
off,
definitely true. From the hair to the face to like everything.
We should change it to like buddies or something.
I don't know that any of us look alike, but anyways. Hey, real quick, let's get the business out of the way first. All things Oh Brother, go to our official website, which is OHB as in brother podcast.com. OHB podcast. Yeah. OHB. That sounded like Popeye there for a minute.
Yeah. or Jackie Gleason, one of the other.
Oh, yeah. One of these days, Alice. So obpodcast.com. Mike's pumping out those blogs. We got a really cool one coming to kick off November. Yes, and make sure that you follow us on social media. The links to everything, all our social media, the YouTube channel, it's all on our official website. So say it.
But you can't smash the website. You got to go to, YouTube,
Facebook, Twitter.
That's what we need.
Which you want, yeah, exactly. YouTube specifically, and give us some feedback if. We're trying to sort of figure out, do you want shorter content, longer content, different content, no content on YouTube?
A different brother.
Different brother.
We can swap one out.
Yeah, one who's got the same father, preferably, possibly. Yeah. So listen, I'm excited to do, it's Halloween Eve, and I've been anticipating this episode for a long time. We're going to break down season 2, episode 1 of The Mandalorian. I can't.
What? Huh?
What?
I didn't watch that.
But I even had my Rebel Force Radio mug and everything. A little shout out to the guys at Rebel Force Radio.
Yeah, let them break that down.
Those guys, yeah. I mean, seriously, let's give a quick shout out to the Rebel Force Radio guys. They're the masters when it comes to podcasts, but Star Wars podcasts specifically. Jimmy Mack and Jason Swank. No, so this is our Halloween episode. I mean,
Halloween, man.
All that other garbage just to get to this episode.
Right.
So I had said to you, there was a little, as always, there's some tug of war with the pre-planning.
Always. Like, no matter what idea I come up with, you always have to say, well, why don't we do this instead of that? Yeah. And I always give in. I'm always like, okay.
I've got my handprint over the last at least 3 episodes.
Yeah. And if you tell the quality's gone.
Hey, listen, not according to the downloads. No. Anyways, but we talked, originally it was, we're going to cover, and I'll be honest, I think we are going to touch on every single Halloween movie just because we just will, but we have to. And so, but I sort of said, well, that's like, it's going to be a 4-hour marathon podcast. So maybe let's focus on the, not 3 true reboots, but the 78, the Rob Zombie reboot, and then the 2018 film, which, that's not a reboot. It's a direct sequel, right. We'll talk about that, and then we'll sprinkle in bits of all the others.
And we should say up front, we don't hold ourselves out to be Halloween experts. There's people with
I'm glad
dedicated sites and podcasts to Halloween.
Right.
365, they do Halloween. We're fans. We've seen them all many times. We know a lot, but we are not experts in the area.
Yeah, I may even get something wrong, so feel free to call us out. Hey, I forgot to show you.
Oh, nice.
This was specially for the episode. Check it out.
Oh, cool.
Killing it since 1978.
Sweet.
But here's what you don't know is I got to lose this pirate hat. This looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the pirate hat's got to go.
How can I possibly take myself seriously? We going to dive in? We just dive in?
Yeah, let's dive in.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have any structure. I took really no notes. This is just like, wherever you want to go with it, I'm game.
Yeah. Well, let's start at the beginning with the
78.
The 78.
Let's see. Hold on. Oh God, they're way under there. Hold on. Yeah. You got the nice.
I've got the digibook.
I like this one. If we're going to go way back to DVD days, this has always been a favorite.
Oh yeah. The
hologram.
Right.
This
is my new favorite though.
That's nice. That's the steel book. That is really nice, and I have that as well. We have every iteration of these films.
Well, like I have yours. This is yours.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed you didn't get that to me in time.
Yeah, I should have.
And, no excuse for that.
But then this one you don't have. This is also
that's nice.
The newest one.
Now, what I do have is this, and I don't want to jump ahead, but here's the 2018 film. So and we're going to talk about that, but I like that. Now that's just a regular case.
This one?
Yeah.
No, this is a steel book.
Oh, it is a steel
This
book.
was the Best Buy steel book. The other steel book I think we got at Target.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Might have to do some
and then finally
bartering for that.
The other one we're going to cover, the zombie steel book.
Because I can't wait to cover that. Yeah.
So
and then you must have, this is just our regular Blu-ray iteration. Right. And then of course the 4K.
The 4K.
You mentioned the original 4K transfer. You're saying how good it was, and yesterday I was like, it was kind of okay. I watched it again today. It's definitely nice.
It's definitely better.
Even the 4K digital is really clean.
A lot of noise is taken out of it, especially in the dark sequences. There's no like pops and buzzes and stuff. So.
Yeah. Look, I'm a big fan of the other two iterations we're going to talk about. Like I really like these films, but and again we'll get into it. So you start us off. Where do you want to go with 78?
Well,
so much
starting with these were like kids. These they were a bunch of kids, 18, 19.
Talk about low budget.
Yeah, like. They had to be 18 because they were working all night. So, of course, I'm sure they weren't following guidelines at that point. I mean, they were sleeping in the house, the Myers house. But they did this in Pasadena. You know, I mean, they made it really look like. So that right off the bat to me is striking.
Except for
looks like the Midwest.
Except for the few palm trees that sneak in there.
Yeah, if you're, and you really got to look for them.
Yeah, now that we know.
Yeah. But, this was the use of the Steadicam, which we brought up when we talked about The Shining, which was the first film or one of the first 3 films to use it.
This was the Panavision version of.
Right.
Which was new.
And if you see the extras, they show it. It looks new. It looks like, but that's so they could follow Michael Myers. And here the budget was so low, $300,000,
right,
and an extra $20,000 for Donald Pleasance. So $320,000.
That feel because of the circumstances, and they were just these chuckleheads with hardly any money making this movie, and how they set dressed the house. Right. It's like a dump, that house. But the way they made it, they cleaned it all up for that first scene.
Right. Well,
where Michael kills his sister.
Yeah. The house.
Sorry. Spoiler alert.
The Pasadena houses, that neighborhood's really nice. I mean, these are rich houses.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did find one that was, I don't know if they moved. I think they moved it around the corner now or something.
They
One
did,
of the
yeah.
houses.
They did, yeah.
But yeah, they had to dress it up, and they had to keep a bag of leaves with them because every time they'd move, there was no leaves in Pasadena, so they'd have to keep bringing the leaves with them.
Right.
Things like that. I mean, this is like low budget stuff, yet the quality that came out of it
Well,
is
and I think
striking. I love how they admit to just stealing all of the shots from other films, starting with the opening in Touch of Evil, the
yeah.
Orson Welles film, how he goes like 20 minutes without, all on one camera shot, no cuts, no edits. And that's what they did at the beginning, to the point where they're upstairs, or they're following you see through the window, and the two kids are kind of making out on the sofa.
Mhm.
And then they follow them upstairs to the bedroom. And as they're following them upstairs with the steady cam, they didn't have enough lights. So the guys with the lighting and stuff are all moving the lights to the next location
While they're
they're filming. So by the time they get there with the camera, they catch it with the right light. I mean, to me, that's just great. Deborah Hill, let's just say up front, she was really a pioneer for women, producing films. And it's so sad that she died so young. She was only 54. And she was moving on to like bigger and better projects. I was looking at her resume, and some of them I was really surprised. I didn't know she was affiliated with.
And they were a couple at the time too, her and Carpenter.
Yeah, and it was really a 50-50 collaboration. She wrote all the dialogue for the girls.
Yeah.
He kind of wrote the stuff for the guys and set up the shots and everything. But it really is like, everyone says John Carpenter. They kind of forget Deborah a little bit, I think. And she's just as much responsible. And she stayed, I think, with the iterations that followed much longer. Although I found out Carpenter had a lot to do with everything up until 6. He'd be on the set. I thought he had nothing to do with anything. I knew they wrote the second one, but he's not down as director. He's not down in any way at all until the most recent one.
Yeah, and he was quite involved in the recent one.
Yeah, which was, we'll get to that one. But what are your impressions of the 78 one? You were really young.
I was young, yeah, right. I think I know that I've seen every Halloween film since 4 in the theater. A Season of the Witch, I don't think I did. The first 3 I did. Did you? The first 3 I probably saw on the TV. I certainly don't recollect when I first saw it, but there was just something captivating about it for me. This character, Michael Myers, has always been hands down. Again, we're not like the biggest horror fans, but hands down has always been my favorite. I think there's just something chilling about it. I had nightmares as a kid, like boogeyman nightmares, literally, and that was a big thing for me. You remember I slept in wasn't a bedroom, let's be honest.
It was a hallway.
It was a hallway on the way to mom and dad's room.
But, think about my last bedroom in this house was in the basement. It was, the size of a closet.
I eventually inherited that.
Yeah.
But, I would get up scared out of my wits in the middle of the night and go crawl into mom and dad's bed, which dad loved, he hated that. And mom could have cared less, but I loved this to the point where I don't think I've ever told you this, but you remember that werewolf mask that we had for Halloween?
Oh, way back.
Our older brother had the big. Well, it was in Chiller.
Yes.
Video.
Yes.
Little spoof on.
Yeah. When I turned into the wolf, I used that mask.
I took that mask because, of course, I didn't have a Michael Myers mask at the time. Why I don't have one to this day is beyond me. But anyways, I took that mask one Halloween, and I had a boombox we used to call it back then, which was popular,
Yes,
the cassette
yes.
players
Yeah.
that was running on batteries, and I had a cassette of the Halloween theme, and
All right.
I would follow kids around the neighborhood from a distance playing the song, wearing the werewolf mask, like totally insane, totally insane.
Like only in Halloween, or like
Well, and we
just
had a
like,
great Halloween neighborhood.
oh,
I
we
mean, our
did.
neighborhood is so set up perfectly for Halloween with the weaving of the different, it's small, but it's like endless when you're a kid.
Yeah, you go around the block, and then there's a
Yeah.
big block. It's like a
Yeah.
big circle.
Oh my God, it was the best.
Do you remember we had, along with the werewolf mask, we had like a hobo mask
Yes.
with a
With
pipe,
the little
with a
cigar.
rubber.
It was a
Yeah,
cigar.
was it a?
It's a cigar. Yeah.
I remember I used to, our front door, not the heavy door, but
Right.
there was like
The storm door there.
the
The
storm
screen
door, and the bottom of it's white. Now it's all glass, but it was half white, and then the top of it was,
Yes. Oh, that's right. It's all glass now. Yeah.
yeah, it's all glass now. So I used to like stay below in the white, and then when kids would come, I would pop up, and they would just, scream. And
That's
sometimes
funny.
I'd have that hobo mask on.
That's funny. Yeah. That's
Like, how can that be scary?
that got a lot of traction.
Yeah.
But circling back to the film, I don't know. His Michael Myers is like no other horror character for me. The music, right? That was a big part of this film. Was
The music's a huge part
Yeah.
of all of the films.
All
And
of them. Yeah.
it's all, everybody basically used.
It takes a little bit of a turn in some of the sequels. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
I have
But
some
most of
problems
them
with it.
use some form of Carpenter's
Yeah.
original.
Mm-hmm.
But just when it's so simple. I mean,
It-
you could teach yourself how to
Yeah.
play this on a piano if you spend a half hour.
And I'd play it if it wasn't for the copyright. But that did
Yeah.
like that one's
Yeah, when it just,
and in the
then
original
all of a sudden the scream comes in, the beep, beep, beep,
Yeah, and in the 78, that comes in, there's only like 20 minutes left in the film when that variation on the theme comes in, because it's
Yeah.
when it's when he and Jamie are getting ready to have their kind of major confrontation in the house.
Right.
And let's give it up to Nick Castle as the Shape in the original 78 film.
And he came back for
That's
the
right.
if you've seen the recent one,
Mm-hmm.
is it called?
But I don't. I think there's three guys that actually, there's the guy without the mask, there's a guy with the mask, and then maybe you can tell me, I don't know, where does Nick Castle, where did he play it?
Like at the sanitarium, the older guy.
Yeah.
That's him.
No, that's not Nick Castle.
I thought.
No, it's not. Because Nick Castle, Nick Castle, he's a very unique looking guy.
Yeah.
And he's quite an older gentleman now.
Well, that's why I thought.
Yeah, no, that's a
him.
different actor. So you got that guy. Then you have
I knew he couldn't do the physical stuff.
He must have, my guess is, and again, for the listeners, you can hit us up and confirm this for us, but my guess is that it was some scene with the mask, but maybe not a lot of physicality.
Yeah, not a lot of
in that particular
physicality.
Scene.
Right.
So that's my guess.
Right.
But
Of course, in the original, there's more than one, which not many people know, because
that's true. And
when the mask gets lifted off, that's a different. They brought somebody in just for that.
Trivia. What's the name of that actor?
I don't know.
All right, that's where you give me the deep cuts.
Yeah.
Tony Moran, folks.
Yeah.
Give me one for that.
I just watched it last night, and I saw him talk about it.
And
so
that
should have known it. The fact that she keeps throwing the knife away, it's like,
right.
That's the big criticism.
And she's the one that brings it up.
She hold onto the knife. I know.
She brings it up on the commentary.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, things like the coat hanger, I'm like, okay, the chances of that really, I've let that go over the years. But here's something I actually, that bugs me, is they never pay off Rabbit in the Red. Never pay it off. Clearly it was completely focused on in that scene where Loomis, right, is at the train tracks and he finds the tow truck that Michael obviously has commandeered, and he's killed this sheriff or the tow truck driver that's over in the bushes or whatever.
Right.
Which is obviously how he gets the overalls. You know, you realize that. But Loomis stops and he picks up the matchbook and he looks at it and it's Rabbit in Red.
Yeah, like what was the significance to that?
It never comes up.
But Zombie does it. Yeah.
And I'll pay some credit to Zombie for that. So that's something that in going back and rewatching, I'm like, well, was that a storyline they just never they intended to but didn't see it through? I don't know.
Like last week when we were talking about The Lie and I was criticizing basically everything about it, but the boyfriend in the beginning, why have that character so kind of important in the beginning,
right,
with the mother lovey-dovey, and then all of a sudden he just gets on a plane and there's no reason to have him.
And I'd be surprised that you wouldn't have heard something by now in all the extras that you've watched. And
the Rabbit in the Red?
Yeah.
No, because why did they talk about it?
No, I'm just saying you I'm actually asking. You haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't heard a thing about it.
I would love to. Like, that would be a question I would ask if I ever had the luxury to meet John Carpenter. I wonder
if they'd pick, well, the only reason I'm thinking about it now, because I've forgotten it from the original. Mm-hmm. I think about it now because of Zombies.
Right.
Because that's where, Sherry Moon works, and they make a big deal about it.
They do. And let's as we move into before we fully go there, let's talk about Donald Pleasance for a couple of minutes, because I think, to me, if he's not in this film, I can't imagine would this film have been as successful.
Definitely not after Jamie Lee Curtis exits.
Definitely.
And let's face it, 3 was definitely a dud. Right. And we went to 3 thinking it was going to be a continuation somehow of the story.
Silver Shamrock, anyone?
Yeah. So imagine going to a theater thinking what you're going to get is that, and what you wind up getting. We were so angry. I remember leaving like, what was that we just saw? Yeah. Like, that's not Halloween. And it took 10 years. It was 88 before it got back to Michael Myers.
No, it's only 6 years.
Was it 6 years?
Yeah, it was 82 to 88. I thought it was longer.
Yeah,
it certainly felt longer, but yeah.
And I saw Mustafa Akkad talk about getting the rights back for number 4. So I thought Akkad did all of them, but apparently not. I mean, apparently, because if anybody reaped the rewards of the first, because the first made 60 million, and it was the best performing independent film up until just a few years ago.
Yeah. So I should have paid more attention, though. I feel like it's so automatic. And of course now,
you see his name, right?
Just, like with that producer credit, just to say Donald Pleasance, it gives it such weight,
I think he was the glue when Jamie Lee Curtis left, although there's always, in every single one, minus 3, there's always a Jamie Lee Curtis character. Mm-hmm. The sweet girl that you really want to be with. And, she doesn't get nude or anything. What was the connection there? Carpenter and they offered Pleasance. It to 2 other people. Yeah. Carpenter had lunch with Well, how did they know each other? I forgot what that connection was. Damn it. He said, according to Pleasance, what he said to Carpenter, they had a meeting. The 2 of them had a meeting, and Pleasance said, the only reason I'm doing this is because my daughter saw Attack on Precinct, whatever.
Assault on Precinct 13. Yeah.
Right. Which was his first movie.
And liked the music.
Yeah. And she liked it. So that's why I'm doing it. But Carpenter says later on, as they became friends, he said, no, he was going to do it. He just wanted to see how much Carpenter was into it, you know, like how much he really wanted to make it. Because even Donald Pleasance back then was known from, especially James Bond.
Right.
He was Blofeld.
THX, wasn't that?
One of the iterations of, yeah, he's in a lot of things. You know, I'll be watching. He was in The Great Escape.
Yeah.
And
he had the blackest eyes.
Yeah.
The devil's eyes. Was it one of my favorite scenes is when he's outside the hardware store where you realize Myers gets the mask and, you know, remember Sheriff Brackett? Oh, well, you know, it's just a couple kids got some, you know, duct tape, my mask, and a couple of this, you know, a knife, you know, what could possibly be up? But it's that shot where Loomis is on the sidewalk there, and that the focus, the way that Carpenter has that focus set, and you see the station wagon behind him in the background, with, of course, Myers is driving it, and he just comes and turns into traffic, and then the way that Loomis turns, you know what I mean? He's looking around, and
that's a famous shot.
Oh my God, I love that.
He stole that from another movie, and
did he really? I just love that.
I forget the movie that it was, but it's directly lifted from another movie.
And is that like Carpenter on timing that audibly to Pleasance? How is he getting the cue to know the timing of the look?
It's kind of like there's another sequence in the garage. This is I think one of the later movies, and it reminds me of us doing Chiller when Michael Myers is in the frame, and then it kind of does it breaks the 180 rule. It comes around, and then it closes in on him. He stays the same size in the frame, but everything else kind of changes because of the movement of the camera. It's one thing you said about looking for faults, which we could easily find faults in just about every one of them, but there's always at least one good thing. Like one really good thing.
Oh,
in every one of them.
We could do a week's long podcast just on the first Halloween, but it's a masterpiece. It's a classic.
I think, you know, the only answer I have to the Rabbit in the Red is the fact that they originally were going to film it only in the house. There was going to be just a one location. That's it. And they pretty much stuck to that, except for those couple of, you know, Donald Pleasance was I guess the only one that wasn't in Haddonfield, right? And I'm trying to think. They went across the street.
Yeah.
That was about as much as they did. So I think it was a matter of location. But why would you make a big deal? You know, why would you focus in on that matchbook?
Well, if you don't own these already, some iteration of this film, the original, then I would beg you to get it and listen to the commentary. Now, you've got me needing to look for this. You're saying there's another commentary? Because they even make the point to say, you know, Jamie Lee even says, we're never going to do this again. So,
yeah, they do.
She also swore up doing Halloween films. So
there's two.
But it's really, you and I have always, you know, if there's a commentary, I want it to be a commentary that we're watching the film together, not one of those where they're not even watching the film. They're just talking about the film.
Yes.
I don't like those as much. And that's why I like this one. We're watching it together and they're talking about it, you know?
Yeah. They follow along. They're basically in a mini theater watching it.
She's such a scaredy cat with the movie. Like she's like, oh my God, that's so scary. That's so scary. And it's like the lamest thing.
Yeah. You know? And I picked this up this year because this is the 3-disc Zombie, and it's got a 4.5-hour making of that I've yet to watch it. Do you have?
I don't have that.
You don't have that.
I
See,
don't have it.
it's. I'll tell you, it's a plain
trust me,
disc. I think.
I'm going on. This is the digital guy talking, but I'm going on a pilgrimage. I'm going to start getting every single one of these discs.
See, it's this disc that you
I
don't
still
have.
Okay.
And
The special features.
It's 4.5 hours of them, everything. I mean, and I have yet to get through the whole thing. It's so long.
Well, is there anything else that you want to? Because this is this is like a time.
Yeah, no, I think we should
Halloween.
move on. Yeah,
but just again, my favorite. So is it your favorite Halloween?
I would say, and the only one that's rivaling it, and
the latest one
is the latest one.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the only one that gets close.
So now we can, if there's anything pressing you want to mention about the others in between before we get to Zombies reboot.
I would just say that there's one.
We have to. I mean, let's give a shout out here to Danielle Harris.
Oh, Danielle.
Do you have the mic?
Are you talking about Danielle Harris?
Oh my God, that is so amazing.
Yeah. That's
how you have that and I don't is sad.
Yeah, it'll be in your possession soon.
So for those of you that are listening and not watching, Mike is holding up a personalized, an autographed Funko Pop of Michael Myers from Scream Queen Danielle Harris at Horror Gal. If you're not already following her on social media, but it's so cool. She's really active on social media, but her new website.
DanielleHarris.com.
Yeah, because she just acquired the rights to that name finally. She's been trying for so long. But she's got all kinds of awesome merch that you can get, and she'll personalize it. And you can send her, your own stuff, and she'll sign it too. So of course that was a birthday gift for you.
Yeah, and she other than Jamie Lee Curtis, right? She was in the 2, and then she was in the zombie ones.
Yeah, she's in. You could. She's not really in 6, but the flashback to the end of 5.
And for those the only people that know this are people who are real freaks of Halloween, or they have that $15. Because I was showing you the interview.
That's what you were watching last night. Yeah.
Yeah, I was showing you the interview with her. She was supposed to be in 6. She made a deal to be in 6, which, if you remember, the character Jamie, who she played as a little kid.
Oh, right.
Gets, has Michael Myers' baby. It's really a bizarre.
Oh, you're talking about really in 6. It's really bad. It's really
bad.
And thank God she wasn't in it. I mean, if she was in it, I would like to think
it would have been
a completely different movie. Yeah. And so it's a shame that didn't work out. It was very interesting, those clips you sent me of what she had to say about it.
Yeah.
She went out of her way to secure this money to sort of
what it was is she was 17
to negotiate.
They needed an actress that was 18 because when you're 18 you can work longer hours and
not the labor law stuff.
Yeah. So she had to get emancipated. So she, she got an attorney to go through that process, cost her a couple of grand. And then one of the producers called her and said, look, your character's nothing. It's just, you're in it for a week. And that's scale, which at that time was like $800 a week or $1,000 a week, which, sounds like a good paycheck for a week, but, not when you're, working these kind of hours. And also she, they wanted her to cut her hair. They wanted all sorts of things from her that she did. And then they turned around and just people, I think she gets a bad rap for holding out for more money. And that wasn't the case. She was just looking to get the money she invested back.
Well, I mean, she's a huge part of what drew us back to the franchise in the first place. So quite frankly, even if it was for money, I would have not had a problem with that because they should have paid her. I mean,
yeah, they should have paid her.
We waited 6 years.
Right.
And we actually waited maybe to your point, we waited 7 years to see Michael Myers because we hadn't seen him since the sequel in 81,
Right.
because of the whole season of the witch travesty.
Right. That was a franchise killer.
No, yeah. But sorry, I mean, you were talking about.
Yeah, no, just going back to her, her character, Jamie, the little kid, is in 6 and she gets impregnated somehow by Michael. It's a bizarre story.
So weird.
But there's alternate stories. Like if you have the producer's cut, which you can buy the producer's cut, the problem is it doesn't have the extras. The producer's cut in that box set has the extras, and it has a lot of interviews with people saying why it got screwed up. It was in the hands of Akkad's name, I think, is still on that one, but I don't think they had anything to do with that film. Although, the son comes in and does explain how they screwed it up. They basically screwed it up. They could have made a story all around Jamie.
Refresh my memory, because it seems to me, and I can remember, I'm a junior in high school when Halloween 5 comes out, and I remember seeing that at Showcase Cinemas and leaving and being like, the Man in Black, like, what was that? What?
Well, the truth is they didn't know what the hell it was.
They didn't know what the hell they were doing. So that's, I feel like that's part of why 6, because they were on the hook now to try to find some way
right
to satisfy that ending.
And they didn't in the original 6. Right. But in the producer's cut,
well, they didn't in any iteration satisfy me. But
in the producer's cut, at least it's explained. And I remember when I first saw it, it was a bootleg going around called the producer's cut. I had it on a CD that you could play in your computer.
The Curse of Thorn and the whole, it's so ridiculous.
And that was Paul Rudd's first movie.
I know. And I love Paul Rudd. And
yeah. And
I like he's got a connection to Halloween, but
he won't admit to it. Like that's not on his resume.
I can't really blame him, but
he got Clueless while he was on the set of Halloween.
Yeah.
And Clueless was like his ticket to fame, basically.
I think he was a little clueless on the set of Halloween 6.
Well, and not because of him. The movie just totally changed. And even Danielle Harris in the extras talks about how she showed up to do it, and then they started doing it, and she's like, what? Who? Michael Myers impregnated me? They were all confused. Nobody
really
knew what
wacky.
The hell Halloween was.
But, I didn't even like the mask. I didn't like the look of the Michael Myers in that movie. But here again, something that jumps into my mind that I do like, and you and I have talked about this, although it also has flaws, is the scene. Because, of course, no, wait a minute. No, 6 starts out with her having the baby. That's right. 6 starts out with her having the baby.
Yes.
I'm thinking of 5 when 5 picks up where 4 left off. He falls down this mine shaft, and then they throw a stick of dynamite in, and then he floats down the river.
Correct.
I always thought that was a very cool.
That's
shot.
how 5 starts.
That's how 5 starts, right? But real quick, I always thought that was a great shot, except that you can completely tell the guy's wearing a life preserver under even when he gets out of the water.
Yeah.
You guys couldn't cut and then fix that. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, 6 is terrible.
Yeah.
6 is
and again, I think the producer's cut is better. And I like the extras that explain how it got all, it was in the hands of people that didn't know what it was. They just knew it was a cash cow.
Yeah.
And that's why it got screwed up. So let's forget about 6, other than the fact that, here's one thing I have an issue between 4 and 5.
Okay.
Ellie
that
Gould?
plays Rachel.
Yeah. Is it Ellie Gould?
No.
Or Cornell? Ellie Cornell?
I think that's yes.
Okay.
Yes. Good call.
Okay, she's in 4, and she's like Jamie Lee Curtis in 4.
Oh, can we I think we need, because we both have these, right? Now this.
Yes.
Now, you notice
That's a
any?
huge steelbook.
Well, this is a can.
Yeah, it's basically a can.
Now, do anything seem odd to you about this?
I'm
Well,
not
let me
sure
show
what
you.
you're going
Let's
for.
look at five.
Because they have those
And
for
we're
4 and
talking about
5.
Danielle Harris, and there she is
Yes.
in the awesome clown outfit. A little bit of a tip of the hat to the first
Yeah.
one. But the Michael Myers, that is
The
not,
hair?
that's the original mask on both of these cans. That is not the mask that's in 4
From
and
that
5.
movie, right?
Yeah. So,
But getting back to my pet peeve about 4 and 5 is Ellie Cornell's great in it, and
I really liked her a lot.
they bring her back for 5 and kill her within the first 10 minutes. Why make and then they bring in another girl to kind of shepherd Jamie along. Why?
Which was a friend of her character. Yeah.
Right. Why not just
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that.
Why not keep her until the end?
Yeah.
Kill her off at the end if you're going to kill her, but why kill her in the first 10 minutes? It didn't make sense, that switch.
Is there commentary of Danielle Harris talking about her, working with Ellie? Like what that was
yeah.
like?
They were
They
all,
must have been super tight.
Oh, they were. And same with and I don't remember the actress's name in 5. But same, they had like a sister relationship. It's funny because Danielle Harris, when you hear her interviewed when she's 10 and 11 or 12 on the new one, I mean, she's 10 going on 30. I mean, she's sitting in her chair and she just sounds like she's been doing movies forever. It's really funny.
Well, I mean, I'm fascinated watching her again because I did kind of zip through 4 and 5 again and before the podcast, and she's what an actress at that age.
Yeah. And again, there's things we could point out, things like when she gets into that's one of your favorites.
Yeah, you bring that up every time. And
the laundry chute.
Well, and it's also because when he leans in and looks up, that shot.
Yeah, it's a great
nice shot. Yeah,
and then you see the knife going through the laundry chute.
Good, man.
It's
4 and 5 have a lot of good bits.
Yeah. But again, I don't know why they didn't stick with one actress as the Jamie Lee Curtis of 4 and 5. I just didn't get it.
I love, most of the Halloweens, I think this is true, but certainly the 3 that we're using, I said 3, but the 3 that we're using as
how many is this?
Yeah, how many is that? The 3 that we're using as the focus is, a lot of the same, like there's always some dopey dad that's in them.
Abusive dad, either dopey or abusive.
Yeah, like in 4 and 5, it's 4 or 5. I think it's 4. Ellie's or Rachel's father, and they're getting breakfast to get again. There's always the scene where they're getting breakfast, right? Rob Zombie, the breakfast scene at the very beginning.
Yeah,
the 2018, same thing.
Yeah.
But he dunks his tie in the coffee and he's clumsy. Like they're always dorks. And in the 2018 one, he gets peanut butter on his where. And,
right.
These same sort of themes that they play out in every.
So we should segue to Zombie, but before we do, I'll just say this about
and that's no insult to 7 and 8. To H2O and Resurrection.
Right. I want to say one shot that we both love from H2O.
Love it.
Is when Michael Myers' one arm comes down from the rafters. That was such a great shot in H2O that they stole it in Resurrection.
Yeah.
Did the exact same shot. It was like, come on.
I would love to do a podcast just on H2O. I really like it. I have some major problems with it too, but I really love it. And, again, look, Jamie Lee Curtis, she comes back and
this is the first time we get
film.
a director that comes back too, which he directed 2 and H2O.
Oh, you're thinking you got Rick Rosenthal. So
Rick Rosenthal.
He did Resurrection, actually.
Oh, okay.
Which was the 8th. Yeah.
I thought he did H2O.
Steve Miner did H2O.
Steve Miner.
Yeah.
Who also worked on what? Friday the 13th, I think
I don't know. I was going to look him up because I'm like, yeah, I know Steve Miner's name.
Yeah.
Maybe
He
that's
directed
why.
one of the other
You'd
franchises. I
know
think it
more.
was. I
You'd
think
know
it was
more
Friday the
Friday.
13th.
Okay. Yeah, you'd know more about that franchise than
But let's
I
get
do.
into zombie because we don't want to
So
go too long.
yeah, so we H2O. No, I'm sorry. Resurrection is in 2002. So again, we have to wait 5 years before we get another Halloween.
Yeah, and they couldn't. I just think they couldn't figure out what to do.
I guess. And I don't hate on Resurrection. I think it's pretty decent. And maybe that's a lot to do with Rick Rosenthal coming back and being involved. But, I'm not a big fan of what's his face that was the main character, the African American guy,
Oh yeah,
actor,
he was like a
musician,
rap star,
like a hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's ridiculous. I can't, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I
But
know.
anyways,
I can't think of it either.
again, there's some bits in there that I don't care for, but there's a lot of
tried to
elements.
bring in new technology into it.
Yeah, the concept was interesting, and
Yeah. Like let's have a reality show
right.
where kids spend the night.
It's like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
I can buy that.
Right.
So, but anyway, so we go from that 5 years, then Rob Zombie we find is going to reboot the franchise.
So
Okay. I'm down
start
for
from
that.
scratch. Yeah.
It's the first of all, Tyler Mane, who is at least all of 6'8", just like a humongous Michael Myers.
Right.
So it's the physical presence of Michael Myers in this film. And sounds kind of dark, but it's the brutality that Rob Zombie is known for that I love about this film, because it's not just brutal. It's like, I can believe that is happening or can happen.
Yeah.
That's why it's so scary. It's not far-fetched,
And he gets that relationship going with, there's another actor, I should know his name.
The young kid?
No, the guard that's with him for 20 years.
Danny Trejo.
How can I
Oh
not?
man, is he good in this film?
How did I not bring out his name right
I
away?
was good to you, Mikey.
And we want Myers to let him go. We want Danny Trejo, who's treating him good. But that's not who this kid is. Not. This is kind of a freak.
Who's the hairstylist for what's his face that starred in that?
Josh Hartnett.
Yes, which it is
hair all over the joint.
It is a good casting for what you'd think Jamie Lee Curtis's son would look like, but that hair,
yeah,
that's who thumbs down on the hair.
Couple of things I should have pointed out earlier. Sam Loomis, that name.
Oh, right. Go ahead.
That's from Psycho, right? In the opening sequence of Psycho, Janet Leigh is having a rendezvous with her boyfriend, Sam Loomis. That's where that name comes from.
Right.
Janet Leigh is the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis,
who both starred together.
Both come back in H2O. And Janet Leigh drives the car from Psycho.
Right.
It's all these little things that.
And Janet Leigh steals Sheriff Brackett's line in H2O and says, well, everybody's entitled to one good scare, huh?
Yeah, right. That's right.
That was such a nice moment.
Yeah.
Seeing them on screen in that film. It was so great. So, but again, it was Tyler Mane for me was a big part of this because he is so massive.
Monster.
So, and it's the brutality, which there's a lot of brutality in the new one, in the 2018 film. Like there is really hard scenes in that.
There is.
I think he paid a good tribute to the original, but with his own twist and what he's known for. It's blood and guts.
And people who complain about it and say, "Oh, it's too gory,"
Well, and if you think his first one is gory, watch the sequel.
Right.
That is way more intense than the first one.
And Danielle Harris's character comes back only to get another worse dose of what she got in the first in that movie.
Oh my God. Yeah. The scene with Danielle Harris and Brad Dourif alone. Now, when Brad Dourif comes into the scene, sorry, we're jumping in the sequel now for Rob Zombie, but he, his acting in that scene when he finds her in the bathroom after this just unbelievably brutal scene where she gets pummeled by Michael Myers.
Yeah.
It's so violent. And the way that Zombie cuts back and forth from, I think it's like, isn't it like silence? There's like muted scenes and he's cutting it in with her actually duking it out with Myers. It's a weird juxtaposition that he does. But
and Danielle Harris is so small. Compared to Tyler Mane.
And
I mean, it's like a rag doll.
And it can't be comfortable, but poor Danielle Harris, like having to be exposed as long as she was exposed in these two films. I mean, you hear actresses talk about that, how it's not, there's nothing glamorous. It's not fun.
There's all these guys on the set.
I know. And she's
talking at you.
That's just gotta be awkward. But in some weird way, it lends to the brutality, I think. But that's a scene that really gets me emotional when I see Brad Dourif find her. Because let's face it, we've talked about him when we did the Cuckoo's Nest episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He played Billy Bibbit, but man,
it's Chucky.
He's Chucky. That's right. But he's just he's really good as Sheriff Brackett. I really liked his performance in it.
I hear people say, "Well, it's just too gory." And if you're bringing in Rob Zombie to shoot the movie, you know it's going to go in that direction. So I don't think that's a really worthy criticism, because you knew he was going to do something pretty violent with that story.
Yeah.
And like you said, flipping into the 2018, the one that we just had, wow, that one.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes I want to talk about in particular.
Yeah, that one, I thought almost the equivalent of Zombie in some ways. Here's what I would say to the Zombie movies. For the first one, watch the director's cut, because it explains a lot more. The second one, watch the theatrical cut, which most people, when it came out, it only came out in the unrated version.
And I saw it in the theater. I was in Indiana at the time.
Really?
I went to Indiana for a wedding, believe it or not.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And we went to a theater in Indiana and watched the
So film. I didn't see the second one in the theater. I waited for home video.
Yeah.
And I really hated it. I really didn't like it. But when the director's cut, he trimmed it. He took out some of the, I don't know what you would call it, metaphysical stuff, I guess. So he tightened the movie up, where one, it was great to expand it and give us a little more detail, whereas in two, I needed less. So if you're going to watch these, if you want to watch them perfect, the theatrical cut, the unrated cut for the first one is the best cut.
Yep.
The theatrical for the second. And I think it's a pretty solid.
And I
love that.
And this,
I love Malcolm McDowell as Sam Loomis.
Malcolm McDowell, yeah. This has the theatrical edition for the second one on here. Tyler Mane, his physicality, he moved, like I put out on Instagram, and it was Scout Taylor Compton actually
going down the street,
put it on her Instagram story. I was like, oh my God, she saw it. She put it on her story. But it's the scene in the house towards the end where, remember with the 2x4 and he's slamming the 2x4 up in the ceiling. And
yes,
but then they have this confrontation where she's so out of it. She's all banged up.
Yeah.
And
all bloody.
Yeah. She's got the revolver in her hand. And then she finally gets herself upright. And there's a slight pause, and then he just comes for her, and they both go sailing out the window. But a lot of those scenes where, not unlike in the original, it wasn't fast and furious like that. Whereas in Zombies, I felt like it was a lot more intense, and he was coming out, not that he was like in a full sprint or anything, but.
Well, it's like when he, in part two of Zombies, when that shack, the woman, who was in the shack? Was it a woman or a security person? And he just rips the shack apart.
Oh, it was a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just literally I mean, Tyler Mane just bulldozed.
Well, and you know the story
shack.
about that, right?
Um,
There was a problem, not a problem, but I guess the way that was constructed
yeah, it was supposed
it
to be
wasn't like it was
lighter
just
wood.
balsa wood. It was
Right,
like
it was
real,
supposed to be.
so
Exactly.
I think he got kind of pissed off because he was like adamant he was getting through this thing, and
Right.
that's why you see it so intense.
Yes.
Speaking of
yes.
another one, I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch. That whole
Oh,
scene,
yeah.
you know, the scene of how again Myers gets his outfit and the way that Zombie plays that out. He stops
Yeah,
at
because at
this
that point he's got a
truck
robe.
stop.
Yeah, he's still in a
Exactly.
robe from the
At the
hospital.
sanitarium. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has this battle with this guy character Joe Grizzly, who's also a humongous
Big guy.
He's at least 6'7" because he's
Yeah, big
almost
guy.
eye to eye with Tyler Mane. And again, I think it's on the commentary. They really beat the shit out of each other
Yes.
in that
yes.
bathroom stall. Like him slamming his arm. I mean, that is so violent.
Yeah, and
So
he's like, "Give it to
violent.
me, man." You know, they were like into it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I
there was
watch
no
it.
like.
I've seen it 100 times, and I watch it, and I still go, "Oh my god!" You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Jesus, it's brutal. It's an intense film. It's very graphic.
But I think you're right. I think he paid tribute to Carpenter's film,
Yeah,
but he did Rob Zombie, and I think it worked.
I do too. I do too. And again, I know he got hated on a lot for the sequel, but I would implore people to go back and watch that one a few more times.
Yeah, and pick up the theatrical cut. If you're really
Yeah,
a fan, pick up the theatrical cut.
I love it. I really, there's so many great shots in that. But anyways, so let's fast forward. Zombie sequel is 2009. We have to now wait the longest we've ever waited
Really?
to get Halloween film back. 9 years.
Wow.
9 years until we get
Wow.
this David Gordon Green.
This is a direct sequel to 78.
Right.
So they're going to forget everything you know about the other ones. This is the sequel to 78, but they paid a lot of homage to, I think, all of the different films.
A lot. This one, I think it would almost be almost a perfect Halloween film with one exception, with one major exception, which is the doctor character is absolutely
oh my God.
horrible and
I was thinking in my head, where is he going? And as soon as you said it, I'm like, what was that?
It was awful and unnecessary. And it just, the whole idea that he's got some weird where like thing fetish that, yeah, he needs to understand what it's like to be Michael Myers. So
they could have cut that out and it would have been just right.
That character for me just,
that was a mistake.
I'm not sure that I'm going to get to a point where I'm okay with that. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think I can
so
forgive
bad.
that one.
No, killing the sheriff with the knife or
yeah,
whatever.
like all of a sudden he's bent
and
over.
Putting the mask on.
It was really stupid.
It was so stupid.
And I feel bad.
Sorry, David.
What's the young actress's name?
Oh, that plays Allison.
Yeah,
I got to look it up.
She's
Sorry.
basically Jamie Lee Curtis now.
Yes.
And he mirrored shots, like the shot when we see Jamie Lee Curtis in 78 in school and she's kind of daydreaming out the window. They do that shot with this new actress who I was really good. I'm
looking it up to give her.
Yeah, I should have had her name at the ready.
I'll find it.
Because there's basically 3 generations of she's the granddaughter of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh wow, Andi Matichak. Okay, Andi Matichak. Yeah, because we know Judy Greer plays.
Judy Greer, knocks
great.
it out of the park.
She really does.
Everything she does, I like Judy Greer a lot. She was in Planet of the Apes.
But that's what I was talking about. Was there's the same? I don't think trope is the word, but it's like you say. There's the school scene. There's the
right.
You can go to all the iterations, and they
you can match scene for scene a lot of them.
And the Rob Zombie one that scene in the Rob Zombie film,
Mm-hmm.
where it's, of course, Scout Taylor Compton now in the
Yes.
back seat, and
Yes.
the voice of the teacher is PJ Souls
That's
in
right.
the
That's
original.
right.
Some of those
That's
nuggets that
right.
are in there. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that now.
Yeah. But I thought that was done really well by David Gordon Green. He says on those extras on the new disc is he's just a humongous fan of Halloween, and it shows and things like that.
I wish we got a commentary for that one, because I would have loved to hear why.
And that's not on the Steelbook version.
A commentary?
There's no commentary.
No commentary.
I guarantee they released that with a commentary at some point.
I hope so. And I'd like to hear just why. Like, what was the reason to make that character
Going back to the doctor.
Yeah, it
it's
just
so bad.
bugs the hell
So
out of me.
horrible.
Really bugs the hell. Everything else about the movie I like.
I do
I mean,
too.
I watched it twice last night. I went back to back.
Yeah, I've watched it almost twice, and the mask scene when he pulls it out of the trunk.
Oh, it's great. And he lowers it, and you see them. It's just great.
Slow motion. It's so awesome.
The sequence,
Chilling.
the sequence where the woman's you see his face in the window from the opposite side.
Yes.
It's a reflection, and then the woman comes to close it, and as she's closing it, he comes in from behind her. That's just
so great.
That's great filmmaking.
It's really great. And you've always liked the one where Jamie Lee sees him up at the window and she shoots at him, but she ends up shooting out a mirror. He's not really
right.
big,
Exactly.
And then this was another thing that David Gordon Green did, which you can tie back to 78. And one of the things that was good about it then was he held on shots for quite a while, which is, again, it's kind of unusual these days in filmmaking, but like that one you're talking about, that particular scene, it's not all one shot. It's like 2 or 3 cuts maybe, but pretty long duration of shots.
Yeah. And
then it sets up the suspense.
It does. And the ending of this one, that ending shot where Michael is just looking up, that's just a great shot.
And you know what I like? Because this could be so cheesy, but man, she delivers it in such a way that it gives me, the hair on my arm stands up, is when Judy Greer is down there with her daughter.
Gotcha.
Oh my God, man. I mean, it sounds like that should be easy.
No.
But to deliver a line that way and have it work like that.
Yeah.
Because up until that moment, she's not playing the character like that at all.
No.
But then you very quickly realize she's in on this whole thing.
That's right.
She knows what's going on.
Yeah, that was a great moment for her.
It really was.
I think of Judy Greer, and when she was on Arrested Development. And she was Job's slutty girlfriend, and
that's where I first saw her.
Oh yeah, she's been in a ton of things. She was, like I said, she was in Planet of the Apes, and you wouldn't have known it because she had all the makeup on,
right?
The Andi Serkis.
She was so good in that. I was a little concerned that we're seeing Michael Myers maskless so soon in the film or at all. But again, it worked. It wasn't like it was from the side.
It was from the side. You don't really see him.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
And same thing let's jump to that scene. Again, we talked about brutality in this one when they're at the gas station and he kills at least 4 or 5 people there.
The mechanic,
the guy behind the desk, the 2 of them. But when he's slamming this guy into the bathroom stall, I've watched it again today, and I'm like, how do they film that? Because I swear to God, he's getting his head bashed in.
Yeah.
I think it's Rob Zombie quality.
Yeah, it's more the actor than it is. I mean, the actor that's getting slammed is doing more of the slamming than the one.
Right. Well, it's like
he's just kind of holding him.
And
then the guy's doing it himself.
Annie in the original, played by Nancy Loomis, right? Her
Yes.
name is Nancy Loomis.
It is, right?
I always
right.
have to pause because of the Loomis thing.
Yeah.
But her death scene in the original is a work of art where he, remember the windows are fogged up and she's in the garage and she's like, why is the window? And then he grabs her from behind. That's all her acting. He's hardly touching her.
Correct.
It's amazing. But that scene and the woman who's trying to get away from him underneath, which was nasty, that she's crawling all over.
The teeth. I
was all right.
Mixed.
When I saw the trailer, I was
why
like,
would he have presence of mind to like
taunt her with the teeth?
Exactly. I don't think he would be
a crazy bastard. I mean,
I don't think he would be of a, hey, let me taunt this bitch before I slam her, against the thing.
Well, he puts on a goddamn costume to terrorize these people. So he's got something in him there.
That's good.
But that was a phenomenal.
And then
scene.
we find out right away, shortly after this one comes out, that they're going to do 2 more.
Now, do you have a problem with the fact that this is a 61-year-old Michael Myers that's, beating the shit? Or you just say, well, he's of the paranormal to an extent, so I just accept it.
Yeah.
He's pure evil.
If you have a problem with that, then you got to say, well, this guy was comatose for how many years?
Yeah, I
and
know,
his muscles work just fine. Yeah.
Right. It's
I let that go. I don't have a problem with that. And, it's just like, okay, how obviously they had it in their head that this was potentially 3 movies, and a lot of people suspected when this one ended, a lot of people thought, oh, wait, I heard him breathing. Oh, there was a lot of internet chatter about, oh, he's not dead because he's breathing as the
end of this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
As the girls are driving away in the back of the truck, you can hear like him breathing.
Right. Well, but that's not unusual. That's been in other ones. That's because I think I recall that. But that's because he's never really gone. He's the embodiment of all evil. He's the boogeyman.
But how does he survive this?
Well, how did he survive Jamie Lee cutting his head off?
Well, they came up with a gimmick.
I know, which worked pretty well. That's right.
Yeah,
that was the beginning of Resurrection.
Right.
And I forgot about that.
And it turned out that it was the driver.
I mean, that is, and again,
David
Gordon Green goes back to the original with that Captain Kirk, but
it's a great
scars
shot.
it up, and God, it's beautiful.
I really like this Steelbook.
Let me see that again, because I look at the titling now. Mike's holding up the Steelbook, and this is what, a Best Buy exclusive.
Yeah, that's the Target exclusive.
The Target exclusive. And
the
writing is like, it makes me think of the Sam Hain kind of, whatever that is. I don't know. It's nice.
And then let me show you the Best Buy one here. I like that one better. This is the 4K.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice.
So
let's talk about, I remember you and I saying this when this first came out, which was, this is the first Halloween where a kid was murdered.
Right.
I was like, what?
We noticed that right at the beginning. They were like, this is different.
He kind of, maybe a tip of the hat to Nancy Loomis's death, because it was almost the same thing, right? He comes up from behind the kid in the truck.
Right.
And he snaps his neck, and that's it.
It's like, okay, the rules are off now.
Totally. I mean, what's that kid, 10, 11 maybe?
Right.
It's one thing you should learn in all these Halloweens. You cannot ever safely transport Michael Myers from one location to the other. Like, when are we going to figure that out?
Be it by bus, station wagon, it's not going to work.
And that's in the original sequels. That's in Rob Zombie's sequel.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a brutal scene.
Oh, man.
Look at Rob Zombie's sequel.
The van.
When he gets out of the ambulance.
Yikes.
That scares the crap out of me. So
I'm curious how they're going to, the trailer just dropped for it. It would have been out this week. We would have seen it. Wait, last week.
Yeah. You're talking about
It's
Halloween
done.
Kills. Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, you sent me the link to the new clip, which was just awesome.
Yeah, and it's
Awesome.
a shame because of what's going on in the world. Uh, they're holding it back, and they're not, which is good
But I'm
because
glad because I am going to theater to see this.
oh yeah,
Because I
and
saw,
hopefully by then, I know I know we're gonna have it in 2 weeks. We're rounding the curve and all that bullshit.
right.
But
We'll be back in the theaters at some
I
point.
hope so.
It'll
I
be, a
hope so.
modified experience, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, who's gonna be in
And
business?
that title sequence we haven't even talked about, the way he paid homage to the original title sequence with the pumpkin,
Yeah.
but in reverse, where it's like inflating the pumpkin back.
Oh, right.
That was
right.
I'm like, right away, I
Yeah.
knew this is going to be good.
Yeah.
That was
It-
so brilliant.
This is to me, I think, next to 78. And if you take out
Oh,
that one doctor,
horrible.
or just make him like normal.
I'm not even making apologies. That was just
No, that was just
not
terrible.
good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Take that out, and you got a really solid movie.
You really do. You got everything that you want in a Halloween film.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, but,
that little kid, that little African-American kid that the girl was babysitting.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a funny character too. Like
He was almost reminded me of like Emmanuel Lew, or no, not Emmanuel Lewis, not Webster, but Gary Coleman. Rest in
Gary
peace.
Coleman. Yeah.
Remember Gary Coleman?
Yeah, of course.
Different strokes.
Yeah.
He had that kind of comedic ability as a young kid.
Yeah.
Even though
of
Gary
course.
Coleman was like 35 when he was doing
Yeah.
strokes.
When when the girl is getting killed and he's like, oh my God, he's like, get me away from this.
Yeah.
So that's Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord, this is a long episode.
That was a long one. I know.
This is a
Good
long
luck editing
episode.
that one.
I know. I might just say the hell with it. You either listen to the 2 hours or you don't.
Yeah.
Screw you.
It's tough to, I knew this was going to be tough, even,
Yeah.
blocking out so much of the sequels.
Yeah.
There's so much material. And
all I can say is I'm glad that we still have 2 more to come. And it's interesting that it'll be the Halloween Ends will be the 13th film if you count them all up. So that's kind of ironic, number 13, but it can't possibly end.
I don't think so, because, there's everybody knows Halloween, knows that Mustafa puts in the contract that he can't be killed.
I can't allow it to end. It would be tragic.
But, I think the way they're thinking of it, Halloween Ends, this is the end of the road for Jamie Lee Curtis's character.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's ending.
Pass the torch in some way to someone else.
Somehow somebody else is going to reboot this, it's just too much. I think every one of them has made money.
Can we get a petition going that in some way Danielle Harris appears in one, if not both of these final films?
It would, I think fans would like to see.
And she said she'll play a waitress at a whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. And she deserves to be in it in some way,
Like, they owe her payback for
6. Definitely.
But I would love to see them sprinkle in characters from all of them. Like,
that would be
like
cool.
they did with JP Souls or
PJ Souls.
PJ Souls. What did I say?
JP Souls.
PJ.
No, that was
that
was a shoe manufacturer back in the day.
Yeah, she was like, in every teen movie.
Right.
She was like, everyone wanted a PJ Souls girlfriend, But hopefully they'll do some cameos. I'd love to see it. They might not, because they're dealing with it really serious, although they did have the doctor in it. So,
I don't know if you picked up on this, but did you go back and watch you watched 4 and 5, you said, right?
Yeah.
So in 4, these 2 cops, the 2 cops that are kind of recurring throughout a good chunk of it.
About peanut butter and jelly.
No, not in the 2018. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going,
All right.
Halloween 4.
Okay.
There's 2 cops early in the film,
Yeah.
and they this is when Ellie's character Rachel, Loomis calls because Danielle Harris's character Jamie senses something's not right,
Yeah. Right.
and the Doberman pinscher dog that's at the house is
Yes.
barking,
Yes.
and she's up taking a
And-
shower, classic
Right.
horror bit. And so it's when the cops come to check out the scene. I don't think I ever picked up on this before. Go back and watch this tonight.
Okay.
Fast forward to this scene. The 2 cops come out of the house, and as they walk into, one of them is this tall blonde guy, the typical look of those cops in all the Halloween films,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Green with the big furry collar. They come walking out, and the blonde guy's like, doop, de doop, de doop. And there's literally, they play a little soundtrack as they're walking out, like doodly doop, de doop, de doop, wah, wah. I swear to God, there's like a honk. There's a honk in it. You have to watch it. It's
This
so
is 4.
ridiculous.
You sure it's 4?
It's 4. I'm looking
right.
at it because I taped it off the TV because I didn't want to forget to tell you.
All right.
And it is the funniest. I'll play it when we get off the air because you got to see it.
Okay. I want
And then the other thing I forgot, I was going to open the episode by saying, Jesus, Earl, it's Ted Hollister.
Was that the dead guy?
Remember when the oldie guys and they take it upon themselves, they're going to go hunt Myers down because he's ravaging the town.
Oh, right.
Remember,
and they
shoot into the gazebo, just indiscriminately shooting at this, and they killed one of their buddies. And the older guy goes, Jesus, Earl, it's Ted Hollister. That's one of the best, worst scenes in all of Halloween.
That's like in 5 when Myers gets in the, you see his head pop up in the pickup truck, and then he's just chucking guys out of
and the one guy doesn't realize this is happening.
Yeah, I know. He's still got the gun.
And there's
like
3
this.
guys, and he's looking straight ahead.
Yeah, like I don't see anything. I have no peripheral vision.
Oh, it's funny. But those are also things I love about him too.
Yeah, those silly moments.
I'm sorry, it's the best horror franchise ever.
Yeah,
it always will be.
Maybe next year we'll do Friday the 13th or something.
Well, we'll certainly be doing an episode on Halloween Kills.
Yeah, but maybe as the long one, we'll do one of the other ones.
Absolutely.
I just bought the box set, 16 discs. It had to top Halloween, so there's 16 discs.
Of course.
And
now I'm gonna have to. Now, when are those 2 gonna meet up?
Who?
They've done it with Jason and Freddie, right? So when is Jason and Michael gonna square
I
off?
guess when they're all under the Blumhouse.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. New Line Cinema acquired Friday the 13th and Nightmare.
Who do you got your money on in that battle?
The 3-way?
No.
If it's the 3 of them?
No.
Who?
Freddie doesn't. He wouldn't last 2 minutes.
You don't count Freddie. I don't know. That's a pretty good.
I think Myers has. I think Myers. He's got a little something extra in the gas tank, I think.
I mean, Jason's literally had his head chopped off.
As has Myers.
No, it was the
the
driver.
But, okay.
So, I don't know. I think it'd be a good
The
battle.
driver. What a silly explanation.
I'd watch it.
And bring back Danielle Harris, damn it.
Yeah.
And Scout Taylor Compton. Bring them all back. Like you said, sprinkle them all in there.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone who's been Ellie Cornell, get
bring her back. Bring them all back. Yep. Bring back the other Jamie Lloyd and the baby. What the hell? Bring back
That's
Paul
right.
Rudd as Ant-Man. Throw him in there.
Even though Paul Rudd disassociates himself.
Yeah, well, he needs to embrace it. He did it. It's
just
forever.
like, was it Kevin Bacon, Friday the 13th?
Part of his filmography. That's right.
Yep.
Early, Kevin Bacon.
So,
well, happy Halloween, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. We know this is a long one, but it's, it speaks to the franchise. It's deserving of every minute of it. You may not
basically a double episode.
Yeah, double episode, sure. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Oh, but before we wrap up, don't forget to go to our official website for all things Oh Brother, OHB as in brother podcast.com, ohbpodcast.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos out there, please. Follow us on social media. Give us a review on iTunes, you know.
You got to get on YouTube and hit the thumbs up.
Get on YouTube and hit the thumbs up. Let's get
or
that.
Subscribe, whatever it is.
Let's get that subscribership up. Yeah. That's a goal for the rest of this year for sure.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for another episode of the Oh Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.
Happy Halloween, everyone.